Hello and welcome. I'm Yuki. A lot of people, when they find themselves alone for an evening or a weekend or a whole season of life, feel that being alone must mean being lonely. Where I grew up in Japan, those two things were never quite the same. Being on your own here is treated as ordinary. People eat alone, travel alone, sit in a cafe alone, without anyone thinking something is wrong. And over time, a lot of us learn small ways to make solitude feel calm and full, rather than empty. Today, I'd like to share some of them. Not big ideas about happiness, just the ordinary, everyday habits that turn time alone into something peaceful. None of this is about needing no one. It's about being at ease when it's only you. Let's begin. The first thing is simply how being alone is seen. In Japan, doing things by yourself isn't something you hide. There are restaurants built for one, with a single seat at a small counter, so you can have a warm bowl of ramen on your own and no one blinks. People go to the cinema alone, take trips alone, eat their lunch alone in the park. When being alone isn't treated as a failure, it slowly stops feeling like one. That shift is quiet, but it changes almost everything about how an evening by yourself feels. One of the clearest habits is how people eat when no one is watching. It would be easy, alone, to stand at the counter and eat something cold from a packet. A lot of people here don't. Even on your own, you might set out a small bowl of rice, a little soup, something warm. Nothing elaborate. It only takes a few minutes. But making a proper small meal just for yourself is a quiet way of saying you matter, even when you're the only one there. I noticed this most when I first lived alone. On the nights I cooked myself something simple and sat down to eat it slowly, I felt fine. On the nights I didn't, the flat felt emptier than it needed to. When you live with other people, they give your day a rhythm. Alone, you make your own, and small rituals are how it's done here. A cup of green tea at the same quiet hour, opening the windows in the morning, wiping the table before bed. These tiny, repeated things are nothing on their own. Together, they hold a day in shape. They tell you the day has a beginning, a middle, and an end, even when no one else is there to mark it. The room you're alone in matters more than you'd think. A cluttered space, when you're by yourself, can feel heavy and a little sad. A calm, tidy one feels like rest. This is part of why keeping a simple, ordered home is such a habit here. Clear surfaces, a little empty space, one thing set out instead of 20. When the room around you is calm, being alone in it feels calm too. The quiet stops feeling like emptiness and starts feeling like peace. There's also a habit of doing one small thing with your full attention. Not to fill the time, but to be inside it. A slow walk with the phone left at home, tending a few plants, making tea properly, and actually tasting it. When you give a small, ordinary task your whole attention, the restless feeling that often comes with being alone tends to settle. Empty time becomes full, not because more is happening, but because you're really there for it. If you try one thing from all of this, let it be that. Pick one quiet task tomorrow, and do only that with nothing else running in the background. So the difference, I think, isn't really about how many people are around you. Loneliness and solitude can look exactly the same from the outside. One person, a quiet room. What changes it is care and rhythm, a meal made with a little attention, a few small rituals, a calm space, one thing done fully. None of this removes other people from your life or replaces them. It just means that when you are alone, you're in good company with yourself. You don't need a whole new way of living. You could begin tonight with one small thing done with care, just for you. If this quieter way of thinking about solitude feels useful to you, subscribe for more reflections like this. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time.